So we're on to the last video for the unit, and we have to understand and use titration curves with the weak acids and weak bases now, not just the strong acid, strong base, which was standard level. And so the neutralization's at pH 7, so you need to have some sort of idea which curve you're looking at. And so what I do is I just normally go about halfway, and halfway here, so that's like 3.5, and that's like 10.5. So I just round that off to, and then I just do plus or minus 1, so maybe 11. So somewhere between 12 and that could be 10, so 9 to 12. And hopefully they won't give you anything that's too close. So, plus or minus 1 around here, maybe like 13 to 14, or 1 to 2 is strong. And here maybe like that's like a 4 to 2 to 5 is weak. So you just need to have some sort of general idea, and you'll hopefully get a little bit more hints than that as well if they ask you to tell me if that's a weak acid or weak base just by looking at the curve, for instance. Okay, so that's kind of helpful. So we're going to look at all the combos, and we've done strong acid, strong bases before, so nothing much to say here except for the equivalence point is when it's completely neutralized, which is this here. And just be aware you can do adding strong base to acid, or you could be adding strong acid to base, and you can see this is like 1 and 13, so that's clearly it's only 1 pH away from 0, or 1 and 14 are pretty much considered the highest you can go, but you can go like negatives, whatever. So that's a clear strong acid, strong base. Hopefully they only give you clear ones. And just to write this one off quickly, weak acids and weak bases, I'll talk about this in a second. Probably should have talked about it now, actually. But you can see that because they're weak acids and weak bases, it's there's very little room for it to have an equivalence point, and so it's very hard to find an indicator that will actually change at that very narrow range. Another reason why you should use a drop counter, because you can do it with a drop counter. Okay, now the ones we're interested are these two. So it's the weak acid and weak bases. And we're more interested in when we start off with the weak acid and weak base. So you can see here you can finish with a weak base or finish with a weak acid, but they're not going to do that because they're not going to be able to ask you as many questions, basically. And so there's not much to do for that. And so first of all, this one's not usually talked about very often, and it's very hard to understand. There's a little drop that's very quick. So that's one of the other clues too, by the way, if you're trying to work out if it's a weak acid or weak base. If there's that little drop up or drop off or pick up at the corners, that's a weak acid or a weak base. So I've tried to explain that as best as I could. And it's basically due to the fact that when you start adding, for instance, this one, this is a base, or this one's here is an acid. Acid's usually easy to talk about. When you've got the acid and you add the base to it, all of a sudden you get this excess ion, and because it's a weak acid or a weak base, it's equilibrium, and that excess ion now counteracts in the left-hand side, which is not the side that it's tending to go through when it's going across here. And so it's not able to give off as many H pluses as it was when it didn't have that conjugate base or conjugate acid, if it's the base. When it doesn't have the conjugates on the other side, pushing it back the other way. And so it's not releasing as many H pluses as it normally does. And same with here, it's not releasing as many OHs as it normally does, because you've created that right-hand side conjugate that's pushing it back from doing that. Okay, so you can read that. Hopefully that might make a little bit more sense. As I said, I've never heard anyone ask it, but there you go. We've already done buffers, so you'll appreciate that the weak acids and weak bases, as soon as you start adding the strong acid or strong base, you're going to have a salt there. So this is anywhere along here is a combination of acid and salt, so that is technically a buffer. And it's only in these two situations here. Okay. The other thing we will talk about very soon Now, I'll just state it first, is the equivalence points here at the half equivalence point. If you draw a line across, that will actually tell you the pH, the pKa of the weak, this one's weak acid. Or if you draw a line across, this is the equivalence point, that's the half equivalence point. If you draw that pH across there is actually the pKa of the weak base. Okay, so don't get it confused with working out, having the correct pKa of the indicator over here to work out which is the correct indicator to use. So we're looking at two different pKas. We just looked at pKa of indicator, now we're looking at pKas of the weak acids and bases. Okay, so I'm just stating the fact, half the equivalence point is pKa of the acid or pKa of the base. And so how do you explain that? Very similar to indicators. So what happens is at the half equivalence point, the two values are the same. So that's the equation, that's the acid dissociation constant. So once you sub those in, they cancel each other out and you're left with this situation here. And so the Ka and the H plus are equal. And if you take a negative log, it says that the pKa is equal to the pH. So there you go. So if you're trying to work out what the pKa of this acid is, if you can work out when the substances are equal, then all this cancels out and the pH will be what the pH is at that point is also the pKa of the acid. And that happens, you'll know that because you know when they're completely 100% A and when there's 50% A. So clever trick, yeah? And it works the same for the bases too. And so if you're going to ask to explain that, of course, you'll have to write out the equation, the Ka, explain how when they're equal, that causes the Ka and the hydrogen ion to be the same. So the pK and the pH is the same. If you wanted to get the pKb, which is what you need probably to do some calculations, you might have to do a bit more work. So just to close up then, just remember if you've got pH on the y-axis, it's always pKa. I don't know of anyone that does a POH. I don't know why you would do that, or if you have a POH meter. I don't know. So another thing to realize is go back to your salt hydrolysis equations. If you're trying to work out the pH at the equivalence point, that's quite nasty. I'll refer you back to the previous video, but there's a summary outline of it. And now we've pretty much done everything. So you can see you do all these with rices, by the way. Henderson Hasselbalch, I would just learn just for the exam's sake. But you can do the pH. You could always do the pH of strong and weak acids and bases from standard level. You can do the pH at the equivalence point, very nasty, salt hydrolysis calculations. The pH in between points, situations 1 and 2, that's the buffers. That's pretty nasty too. And you can do the easier stuff, which is just reading off the graphs to get pKs and pKbs and get volumes for neutralization that you can then do further titration calculations on. And so there's lots of titration calculation worksheets from the last time from when we did it in standard level. So make sure you've completed those.